So in this video I'm going to explain you electroplating an article with silver. Now do you see here the spoon? Now this is your cathode. The spoon is going to act as a cathode, or any article you can keep here which you have to do electroplating. So on the left hand side this is your anode. So anode will be your silver. So what is the cathode? The cathode used here is going to be the spoon. Anode is plate of pure clean silver. So before you conduct this electroplating, make sure that the article is thoroughly cleaned. Then the electrolyte, that means the liquid present here. The electrolyte used here is going to be your sodium cyanide, or also known as your sodium silver cyanide. So this is how it looks, sodium cyanide and sodium silver cyanide. So before I start this, you must know what is the meaning of electroplating. So electroplating, it is a process that uses an electric current to reduce dissolved metal cations so that they form thin metal coating on an electrode. So this electrode is going to be a cathode. So this is our pure silver. So electroplating means now you have to do the plating of this spoon with silver. So what is going to happen here is, at the cathode, all the silver ions will start migrating towards this spoon, and this spoon will be coated with silver. So this is the meaning of electroplating. So electroplating is usually done to avoid rust, to avoid erosions. Now this is how it is conducted. So this is your pure copper. So you'll notice that the size of this copper is decreasing. Now this is the key which you are going to make it a copper key. So this copper key is going to be a cathode. So all the copper ions as well as the copper ions present in the solution also will start to migrate. So even you have seen gold plated watch, copper plated mug, silver plated teapot, silver plated goblet, chrome electroplated tap. So these are actually done by the process of electroplating. Even the rings also, if it is silver, if you have to make it gold. Even coins, if you want to convert that to nickel coin to a copper coin, so you can use this electroplating. So electroplating of silver, now we have discussed the term sodium silver cyanide, or also known as a sodium cyanide, how it is prepared. So sodium silver cyanide is prepared by adding sodium cyanide to a solution of silver nitrate. Now, silver nitrate and sodium cyanide will react and it forms a precipitate with this down arrow. So this silver cyanide is your precipitate and your sodium nitrate. Now this silver cyanide is again mixed with the solution of sodium cyanide. It dissolves this precipitate and it forms sodium cyanide. So this is the formula for sodium cyanide. So I'm going to explain you how this works. Okay, now let's assume this is our spoon. So the electrodes used here is anode, that is your pure silver plate. Cathode is your spoon or any article to be electroplated. So electrolyte, sodium silver cyanide is the electrolyte, and silver nitrate is not used. Silver nitrate AgNO3 is not used because the deposition of silver is very fast and irregular deposition takes place, hence it is not smooth. So the spoon which you are going to form a silver coating there, it will become irregular. The shape is not smooth, it becomes irregular. For that reason silver nitrate is not used. So what are the ions present? So the ions present are sodium, silver, cyanide, hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. So these are the list of ions present here in the electrolyte. These are the list of the ions present here. So silver, the sodium, the silver is actually from the solution. It's from sodium silver cyanide here, out here. So what we're going to do here is, there will be selective discharge of ions. Now we are going to look at the table. Now if you look at this table, as we have mentioned before, the selective discharge of ions. Now where do we find sodium? Sodium is here. Now let's look at the positive charges here. Positive charges present here are sodium, hydrogen and silver. Now down the group, what happens is the discharge increases. Now if you compare silver, hydrogen and sodium, the discharge of silver is more compared to sodium and our hydrogen. Now there will be selective discharge of ions. So these silver ions are actually from the electrolyte here, from the solution. Only these silver ions will go towards the cathode. Now it gets deposited here. It doesn't mean that there is only one ion. There will be thousands of ions here. So it will start to migrate towards this spoon. towards the cathode. Now since this anode is your active electrode, which is made up of silver, now here reduction is taking place. Reduction means gaining of electrons. Now this silver ions will go towards the cathode and it gains this electron and gets deposited here, the spoon. Now, whereas now this silver at the anode oxidation takes place, now this silver will start to lose its electrons. Now, after losing electrons, it becomes actually a charged. So this silver will be getting its plus charge here, as well as this silver also. There will be thousands and millions of these silver ions actually. Now these ions, these cations, now will start to migrate towards the cathode. So in doing so, what happens is there will be regular or the smooth uniform plating of this spoon with silver, whereas the size of this anode being silver will start to disintegrate and the size will also decrease. Now if you want to add more silver in them, now this the size will decrease, so you can add more silver plate here. Now let's look at the reaction at the cathode. So what is happening at the cathode? So here cathode, that means reduction takes place. Reduction means gaining of electrons. So silver ions here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write here silver ions here at the cathode. So silver ions, now these silver ions will gain one electron from the cathode and it becomes neutral. So this Ag is your neutral silver here. Now let's look at the reaction at the anode. So at the anode, what is happening? So this silver, neutral silver, is losing its electrons and it is forming Ag+, it is forming an ion. Now these ions will go towards the cathode. It loses one electron, the silver loses one electron and it forms an ion. It's positively charged. Now these cations, the silver ions, will directly go towards the cathode, that is your spoon. Now the question is, what happens to these ions? Look at these anions, OH, cyanide anions, sodium anions and hydrogen anions. Since there is selective discharge of ions, there is only selective discharge of the ions towards the cathode. Now these ions will remain near to this cathode. Since they are positively charged and get attracted towards negative charge, they don't take part in the reaction, but they remain at the bottom or at the near of this cathode and anode. So this is your electroplating of spoon with silver. You can even do it for copper, or you can even do it with nickel or gold.